The 10 o'clock news on KTVU Fox 2 starts now.
A mass shooting at a Florida mall.
People were being trampled, people were hiding, everybody was screaming.
The gunfire and victims' cries captured on tape. And tonight we're hearing from witnesses who say it was all over a competition gone wrong.
I'm way more upset that someone got this upset over a game than anything. It was just a simple game.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Andre Senior. Frank has the night off.
And I'm Julie Hayner. The shooting happened during an esports competition and claimed 3 lives. The event was being streamed live online, giving watchers a first-hand account of that chilling incident. And tonight, the investigation into what led a man to open fire during the tournament now spans to 2 states. KTVU's Rob Malcolm has been following the developments as they unfold, and he joins us now live in the newsroom with the very latest. Rob.
And good evening, Julie. According to local law enforcement, as you said, 3 people, including the gunman, were shot and 11 others were injured. The suspect has now been identified as a competitive gamer, and authorities are now trying to identify where he was staying in Florida and why he apparently targeted other gamers. This video, widely circulated on social media, depicts the moments the shooter opened fire during a tournament for the Xbox game Madden 19. With the tournament in progress, you can see the computer screen and hear gunfire ringing out and people in the background yelling, all while the tournament is being broadcast online. The suspect has now been identified as 24-year-old David Katz from Baltimore, Maryland. Moments after being eliminated from the tournament, witnesses say Katz became upset and opened fire on other gamers, leaving others here in disbelief.
I don't know if I'm uneasy about it. I'm way more upset that someone got this upset over a game than anything. It was just a simple game. It's nothing crazy.
During the shooting, police and SWAT teams converged on the Jacksonville landing complex as police boats lined the adjacent St. Johns River. The open-air marketplace has stores, bars, and restaurants. After clearing the scene, it's later learned Katz took his own life inside Chicago Pizza, where the tournament was being held.
And here's what we know up to this point. We have no outstanding suspects at this time, no outstanding suspects. We have 1 suspect in this case. He is deceased at the scene at this point.
Detectives say surveillance cameras were inside the venue and they're getting help from federal agents as they search for a motive.
People were being trampled, people were hiding, everybody was screaming in fear.
Sunday night, agents also searched for evidence at the Katz home in Baltimore's Inner Harbor. The shooting being investigated as a criminal act, not as an act of terrorism. Now, meanwhile, members from the gaming community who identified Katz as a shooter said he played under the game tag Ravens Champ and also Bread. The tournaments have been growing in recent years, with gamers competing for thousands of dollars and other prizes. The question for investigators now is the motive behind the shooting. Andre, Julie?
Rob Malcolm in the newsroom tonight. Rob, thank you.
Well, the shooting brings up a list of questions, including was law enforcement prepared for such an incident? Joining us now live to talk about the emergency response, former Fremont Fire Battalion Chief Mark Nouveau. And Mark, we're still trying to digest what has happened here today, but, in your experience, paint a picture for us of what happens when firefighters first respond to a scene like this.
Yeah, both police, fire, and the medics that are responding, this is probably the most challenging incident they'll ever face. We know from the sheriff that it took 2 minutes from the time of call till arrival of the first police officer. Within that 2-minute time period, let's think about some of the things they're thinking about. They're going into an area that's an open gathering that probably has hundreds of people in it. They know that by the time they arrive, they've got information that there's multiple victims involved in this, so they're thinking about, are there multiple shooters? Can we enter the building? The more time we wait, for every moment that we wait, there's more pulls of that trigger, more people are killed and maimed, so we've got to get in there, but we can't rush too quickly. Is there a secondary device or a bomb that might be set there for the perpetrator? Is the suspect actually leaving the scene with the other innocent people? We know that took place less than 100 miles away in Florida 6 months ago with the Parkland shooting. So there's so many things that they're thinking about within a 2-minute period of time, not to mention I'm sure some of their family are flashing in front of their eyes as they're responding.
Yeah, Mark, as you're mentioning, so many critical things happening in just a matter of minutes to save lives. But at the same time, first responders also have to be careful about preserving evidence at the crime scene. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. From the moment they arrive, from the moment the first call comes, they're already thinking about evidence gathering. Every sector of both police, fire, and medics. The reason for that is not just prosecution of the suspect, but potentially, is this a larger plot? Is this the first phase of a multi-phase operation that they're going to try and thwart? So they've got to be able to gather as much information real time as they can, and they want to try and preserve that throughout this whole incident. In this particular case, it's a widespread area.
Mark, you know, we heard from some of the witnesses at the scene as they saw the dramatic incident unfold before their very eyes. You got to imagine there's a big human toll. How do firefighters assist the people who went through this with that?
Yeah, not only for the firefighters and police officers, but certainly the people that were actively impacted by this. What we know from previous shootings is that the communities that come together, candlelight vigils, whatever's necessary to bring people together, to mourn, to grieve. Also, those people who are actively involved, that are witnesses or potentially involved in the shooting, to seek counseling, seek group counseling to help them get through this. That's how communities and individuals recover.
Some important advice, and we appreciate your time tonight. Mark Nouveau, thanks for joining us.
Our coverage continues on KTVU.com. There you'll find the very latest on this still developing story.